It's still Thursday, June 11th, 2015. It's right before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When I, when I finished cooking the chicken dinner for everybody at Eric's house, it was a Wednesday, and I heard this man named Mike talking to everybody in the living room, and the kitchen was right next to the living room, and I could overhear everything being said. So anyhow, I sat down after I fed everybody, and then he and I had a really nice conversation, long conversation. Boy, it's hot out here. while we're while we were chatting, I wish I could turn my ears on. That's very distracting, very loud to me. I can't even think straight. While we're talking, I started asking him a lot of questions. I started already having a feeling who this guy was. And this guy, Mike Lucy, and we talked about energy sources, things like that. And during that period, we talked about American Indians, and he made a very interesting comment. He said, "They're God's people, and you people came and killed them," or words to that effect. I was like, huh? I agree, but wasn't me. I asked him right in front of everybody, about 10 people in the living room, maybe 8, Mrs. Miller. Hey, Mike, what's a good energy source that we in Earth can use? to power our country. The first thing he said was, Lee, you live in Arizona, right? I said, yeah, right now, for now. He goes, that's God's country. And there's enough of a substance there that you could power your whole world in indefinitely. He said that you would take about a pound and a half of this substance and convert it down to a pound of pure fusion energy. And a thimbleful could power your homes indefinitely. Indefinitely. I said, what's the substance? Let me guess. Sand? He goes, yep. There's enough sand in Arizona that we could power the world indefinitely. And that one thimbleful of this substance could power everything you needed in your homes. He didn't give it a name. He never gave me a formula. That was too complicated. We were in a crowd of people. But he did say that. When I first met Mike, he appeared to be about 45 years old. Real bushy sideburns. And if you remember right, in March of 77, Jimmy Carter was president, Menachem Begin was prime minister of Israel, and Anwar Sadat was president of Egypt. And the Camp David talks were happening. And our government had just, or the word had just come out that our country, and maybe others, I don't remember, had developed the neutron bomb. It could explode and not cause much damage, but it could wipe out every human being within a certain radius without being an atomic bomb that would cause, the concussion effect. It would just blow up, then irradiate people. I don't remember exactly. And Mike and his people did not like that. No, sir. But Mike reminded me of Menachem Begin in appearance, younger at the time. And then as we talked, he was in a rocking chair, and I was sitting in a single seat couch, whatever that's called, about 15 feet away. It didn't rock like his chair rocked, and we made eye contact. And while we stared at each other's eyes, this force field emanated from him and surrounded me. And I kept my cool and made a mental note of it. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. And as we talked, the years disappeared. He slowly became about 25 to 30 right in front of my eyes and stayed that way the rest of our conversation, the rest of our meeting. He kind of like shut off the illusion, I think. It was an illusion that he would hold around his body and show that everybody else, you know, kind of like how certain UFOs, only certain people can see them. So he had to maintain a certain appearance to other people from Earth while he was here. And that's my guess. He never said that. That's my speculation, my embellishment, if you will. If I'm wrong, excuse me. I don't mean to be wrong. I try to report things as truthfully and honestly as I can. But he was an interesting fellow. And every half an hour or so, he would excuse me and get up and go to the kitchen. He had a teapot, one of those old metal kind that the cap would flip down, and when the water was boiling, it would whistle. And he would keep a pot of water constantly boiling in the kitchen. He must have been making tea. I was thinking that for some reason it was coffee. Maybe it was instant coffee. I don't remember it now. Either tea or coffee was the only thing I ever saw him consume, liquid wise, or food wise. I never saw him consume anything else. And he smoked. Actually smoked cigarettes, which I thought kind of weird. You know, for a man not from Earth, I thought that was kind of strange. But about 1 o'clock in the morning, during one of his trips to the kitchen, meanwhile everybody else went to bed except for Mrs. Miller, and left us alone to talk all night. Um, I followed him to the kitchen, and I stopped him, and I said, "Mike, can we go outside and talk?" He goes, "Yeah." He thought about it, and he goes, "Yeah, just let me take a few minutes to say goodbye to Mrs. Miller, or see you later to Mrs. Miller." We walked back into the living room, and here's Mrs. Miller crying her eyes out. "Oh, you guys are leaving, aren't you? You guys are you're gonna take Lee and take him to a UFO and then take him away from the planet and never come back." And I was like, "What? No, 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 no. Mike hasn't even told me yet who he is, and for sure." And he calmed Mrs. Miller down, Darla down, held her hand. She had multiple sclerosis, and held her hand and caressed it and calmed her down and assured her that we're just going to go out and talk. We'll be back soon. Don't worry. Don't cry. Don't be upset. And that's what he did. And so we went outside, right outside the front door on Oak Haven Drive. I said, "Mike, do me a favor. Level with me. Who are you, and where are you from?" And he goes, "Okay, I'll tell you. He goes, "Lee, I'm from a planet that is from the dual, dual star system of what you call Alpha Centauri. And their planet," he told me, revolves around both suns, not in a figure eight, but around both suns, several light years from Earth. I can't remember how many, 3 or 4 or 5. It's not that far. It's one of the closest star systems to us, as a matter of fact. And then we had a really interesting talk after that, of course. But while we're out there, we had talked about about Christmas an hour or two before that, and he made a very interesting comment. He said, "If you people would learn how to live in the true spirit of Christmas year round, all the time, you would never die. Never die." Okay, you know. So while we're outside, we're talking. He showed me a spaceship. He showed me a light, and it was moving. I started getting excited because I thought, oh boy, I'm gonna go for a ride. Yeah, in a UFO. I said, "Hey Mike, is it gonna land?" And he goes, "No, no, no." He goes, "Lee, that is a beacon ship, and it is about 200,000 miles away. And that night the moon was out, it was pretty full, if not full. And it was heading towards the moon, probably in the southwest sky, at about 2 o'clock in the morning. By this time, I think it was March 17th of '77, and anyhow, while that light was out there, and I started freezing because this is March. I just came from Arizona, and I was shivering. And I said, "Hey Mike, would that be there for a few minutes?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm gonna run inside and grab my coat. I'll be right back as soon as I can." I ran in, grabbed my leather jacket, zipped up, and ran outside. That's when I sat down in the driveway in the lotus position and watched it for about 10 minutes. While I was watching it, the sky was pretty clear that night. I happened to notice that there's what I thought were clouds. They were kind of orange hued, and there was orange hued clouds out there that night, up there that night. And then I noticed a group of the clouds moving the opposite direction. And at first I thought, what the hell, is that possible? The one set of clouds is going this way, and yet there's a couple going that way. Then they stopped, and right in front of my eyes, that small cluster of clouds condensed and merged into a orange silhouette of Santa Claus and 2 reindeer. Not 8, not 9, 2 reindeer. And I remember I yelled, "Holy shit, Mike, look at that, that's pretty good." And he just started laughing his butt off. He couldn't stop laughing. He thought that was the funniest thing because I didn't freak out. He goes, "Lee, I just did that in front of 200 people down in Jupiter, Florida at a beach party, and it freaked everybody out. Just a few days before." I was like, I think it's great. We're just talking about Santa Claus an hour before. It's very appropriate to drive in a point in the and showed me that he had a sense of humor. And then we talked about all kinds. We went for a walk on Oak Haven Drive. On the way back, about 200 feet from the Miller's house, a huge black snake, milk snake, I think, crawled out of somebody's front yard across the street. Oh, holy smoke! It must have been 8 feet long or 6 feet long, and interesting. And well, anyhow, we eventually went for a ride, and that'll have to wait for another day, because that's a very difficult, complicated story. That's why I need about 3 hours in a lecture with no questions, no interruptions, where I can get relaxed and talk without distractions and noise, kids, UPS trucks, and wind, and not be distracted. The last time I did that was in 1999. Not 1991. It was in El Cajon, California, at a bookstore. They were giving a talk that night on the subject was UFOs, and everything was. I was the fifth person, yeah, I was the fifth person scheduled to talk. But my talk was an appointment. It was in the air. I could talk if I wanted to, or not talk. It's my decision after I checked the crowd out, because I don't want to cast my pearls before swine, or bring any type of unnecessary embarrassment to myself. If you catch my drift, who wants that? Yeah, that night they had 4 people speaking for about half an hour or an hour each. Every single one of them talked horror stories about being abducted by aliens. Quote, aliens. Horror stories. Being taken out of their house, in their sleep. The whole gray shit. The whole time I was sitting there, who the hell would want to meet those kind of aliens? Or be involved with that crap? The only kind you want to mess with is human aliens. The other kind are not good. The kind that are Jesus' father. They're good. The best. They are the Elohim of the Bible. Of Genesis. And no, the Anunnaki are not the Elohim. That was 50 to 100,000 years ago. Most likely. continue it some other day. 10-4. 10-4. Let me see that button.